Hi, my name is Julia Mada. I am Professor of Diabetes Technology at the Medical University of Graz, based in Austria. And so as my professorship already tells you, my main research focus is diabetes technology, but I'm also engaged in all other aspects and fields of diabetes care, especially for people living with diabetes. We meet here today at the Danish Medicines Agency to jointly discuss our goals of our research projects and to see how we can together address the challenges that we have within these projects, because it's not so easy to work with real-world data, as all of our projects have noticed. And also we want to make a louder voice together, because if it's just one project claiming results of real-world evidence are relevant, it's maybe not as relevant for decision makers or for the Commission as if we speak together in one voice. Projects like REDDIE tell us, or should tell us, how diabetes care is done in the real world, and we can compare the results from our projects with the results out of randomized controlled trials. And that makes it very relevant because, of course, people outside clinical trials should also be observed how the medication affects them and how medication actually works on them, because the decision-making so far is based on clinical trials, but with our real-world evidence we can look beyond clinical trials and see what actually happens to people in the real world when they are exposed to medication. Currently, most of our decision-making is based on data from clinical trials and not so much out of real-world data. What real-world data helps us is to better understand adherence to products on the long run, better adaptation of the local guidelines into the field of care. And so with that, we hope that we can bring together science on the one hand side, but also evidence from the real world, and with that generate a new type of data set that also our regulators can make use of. One of the challenges that we see with real-world data is that different countries have different levels of data that they collect. They collect it with a different type of quality, they collect it with a different type of quantity at different time points. And so stratifying those data and deciding which data are relevant is one of the biggest challenges. Additionally, some countries collect data about reimbursement and how medications are actually prescribed and picked up. Other countries do not have that data, so it's really a complex process to align these data sets. And another very, very difficult aspect that we underestimated in the beginning is that we do not yet have a joint data space where all the data within the EU meet together. So now what we needed to do as a substitute was to analyze the data in the respective countries and then make a compiled analysis in the end, because it's not that easy that data can travel.